Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the February meeting of the Hong Kong Study Circle and Hong Kong Philatelic Society, sponsored by the Federation of Inter-Asian Philately. It's still Chinese New Year. We celebrate the Chinese New Year for 14 days, and I say Kong Hei Fat Choi to everybody still. And I hope you collected or given out a lot of lychee packets to your to your kids or to other friends, etc. So anyway, so we are meeting tonight. Today, we're going to have a few speakers. But I think before we start, I just have a very. I'm sorry, I'm being very lazy. I've only got one item, so I think I should start first. Oh no, actually no. Sarah, because Sarah is already midnight, so she might be getting a bit tired. So Sarah, why don't you just start with your presentation first?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the senior moment. I forgot.
Oh, I hate share screen.
Yeah. So.
Can you see it?
Not yet. Let me see.
Yes.
I stop share. Yeah. Okay. Right. There you are.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, way to go. That's fabulous. I'm interested at the moment in the setting of the China overprint on the Hong Kong King George V series, the 1912 and the overprint ones, obviously. There's very little written about it in the literature. Perrin says that the plate had a basic frame of 6x2, which he says was too small, but otherwise I can't find much information about it. I mean, they were printed, De La Rue printed them, then they were sent to Somerset House for the overprints. So I've given some examples here. The famous one from Wei Hai Wei. This one I got taken for a ride by. It was all stuck together when I bought it. Beautifully done. Of course, after I'd had it for a little while, it all fell apart. But you can still see how the overprint is very out of sync. And these ones, I don't know if it's the same. And then I've got some other blocks, which we checked. Hold on, we'll go. If I look at those ones, the F one here, the China overprint seems to be going uphill slightly, and it's definitely in a different position on the top row as to the second row. So then we try another block which has 3 rows, and you can see that the overprint is high up, and it stays high up on all 3. And this one is the third one is good at the strip because the overprint is low down, but it doesn't follow a pattern of every second row, which if it was printed by 6x2 would make sense. So here's Susan's big block, but it's quite hard to see actually. I mean, if it was every second row, this row and this row would have the same. And they don't really. So I need more information about them. So then I checked a few other values, and there's a nice strip. And look at that one. It's the overprint is very much out of position. But if I go to the 6 cent here, the overprint is quite high up on the crown, and then it's decidedly lower. And then here it's high up again. Then it's down low, and it's hard to pick them up. And there are a few others. I mean, this one. Look at this one. The overprint is on a slope going downwards. I haven't found very many of those though. The 50 cent is the best one though. I mean, the 50 cent. I mean, I just threw together a few examples of used ones there. I mean, look at them all. They're all over the place. So I tried, and Adrian, you might have some blocks, please. I tried checking requisition blocks to get the requisition and finding where the overprint was. And I can't find requisition A and B. So if anyone has a block from A and B, please send me a scan of it. But otherwise, the nil requisition, D and E, the overprint is high, like these ones. I mean, these are very high. But then F, the overprint wasn't high. And H and J, it was high again. So I'm having a lot of trouble making any sense out of it. And getting more information is difficult. So if I can pick anyone's brains, and anyone has a block from requisition A and B for the 50 cents, that would be a great help. Please. Does anyone have any more information about the overprints, the positioning of them?
Interesting that your 6-cent strip seems to follow that 2x6 pattern.
Yes.
The only requisition I've got to pair of F.
Of what value?
The 8-cent.
Okay. I'll have a little look for that. No, I want the 50-cent ones, and I just don't see them ever anywhere.
No.
The 50-cent look A and B, I just haven't seen them. And Susan, you don't have one, I don't think.
No, not a 50-cent one.
No, I wish them.
Wish, yes, on a wish list.
Never mind. Anyway, if anyone pops up,
we'll all be fighting each other for it when it comes up.
We will be, yes.
We'll have to email each other and make sure we don't just put the price up for each other.
Well, I'm happy to be sent just a scan of it so that I can see where the overprint is positioned. But it's strange that on the 50 cent it should almost 100% of the time, except for that one, the requisition F, be high up. I mean, why on the 50 cents did they bang it up here?
Put them higher, yeah.
Anyway, I'm still digging around. And as I said, it's a work in progress. Okay, somebody else's turn.
I think it depends on how they put the plate, right? Because obviously you have an overprint plate. So you said how big was the overprint plate, the China overprint plate?
6 by 2.
6 by 2.
Probably, yes.
But
which is a strange.
Yeah. So they have to actually overprint the sheets many times. The complete
over and over again, yes. Seems very labor intensive.
Very silly. I mean, they should have made a much bigger plate than the 6 by 2.
Absolutely.
And you are actually overprinting hundreds of China on all values. I mean, I don't believe that they have I don't believe that they have a separate plate for each value. Obviously, it's the same China, or whether it's 10 cents to $10. So
yeah, they would have used the same one.
There's worse than or 6 by 2. 6 by 2. That's the same as the Jubilee, isn't it?
But it's strange that almost consistently it seems to be the 50 cents which has it very high up. You can understand like the 10 cent here. I mean, they made a mistake and slapped it in the wrong place occasionally. But anyway, it's interesting.
My 50 cents tend to be high up. I have got a lower one.
Yes, there are
some lower ones.
I found one requisition plate worth 50 cent. There we are, the requisition F, where they're not high. So they're not all high. And A and B, as I said, here I can see here I haven't found them.
Right, Nick.
When you were talking about the 6 by 2, I always assumed that was that they make what they tended to do was make a plate by making a small plate and then taking electrodes and clamping them together to make the full plate. And I'd always assumed that the 6 by 2 is, this is the basic unit, but then they've made electrodes or matrices or something, various approaches to produce
a big,
what is it, 200? Was it 240 or 120?
240.
240.
I don't know actually.
I
mean, that's the usual procedure.
Yeah.
And on the location, I mean, what would control the location? Surely, when you're overprinting, because they're overprinting on stamps that have already been produced, on sheets that have already been produced. Basically, what will control where the overprint lands up is how the printer, setting up his press, adjusts his guide margins, because he's got to have sort of things around the edge to hold the paper in the right place. So the plate, when the plate comes down, but they'll be adjustable. So if you adjust them slightly differently, the overprint will still end up on the stamp, but it'll end up in a slightly different place, which is different to when you're printing the basic stamp, because then you print it on a larger sheet, and then you trim the sheet afterwards with guide marks that you've printed.
Oh, sheets, quarter sheets.
Yeah.
Is it possible they weren't actually overprinting the 4 panes? That they had already been split up because they weren't sort of issued to post offices in the 4 panes, were they? They were split down.
Anything is possible, really. I have no proof of anything. Yeah. Anyway, I'll keep digging and see if I can get any more information. All right, so stop share.
Anyway, that's very interesting, Sarah.
Indeed.
Thank you.
I will look at those again differently.
Right. Okay. So I think I want to go next. It's just one item that I'm showing you. Is this completely? I mean, the only thing genuine about this cover is the stamp. I think all the rest, all the rest. I think even the cover itself is a modern cover. You see, it looks. If you look at it, it's deliberately made like an old cover by probably soaking it in tea, maybe a dark tea or something. And then so that's why you get all these typical patchy stain. You see, if a genuine an old envelope with toning, and it's uniform. But if you look at this patchy effect, you try it, use an envelope, and it gets some dark, like a pu'er tea or something like that, which is very dark, and or some Darjeeling or something, and then you soak it, or even English breakfast tea, you do. You soak it and then take it out and dry it, and you have that kind of patchy effect. I think that's how it's done. But note that actually the handwriting, it's actually never actually it looks so fresh, So obviously that just by looking at the handwriting, it's already obvious. And on the back the Lu Kung Tao looks nothing like, well, the color actually looks nothing like the genuine Lu Kung Tao oval. And the Shanghai is diabolical, and you can see that all the date is completely wrong, and I think this is a 5-cent stamp. It's the 5-cent stamp. Is that the right rate? Yeah, it could be. Yeah, but there's so much wrong with this. So many things wrong with this envelope. But however, I think it still got sold. I don't know whether it's actually. Again, I was talking about on the internet, the seller often have most of his friends bidding up, and maybe he caught somebody unaware, and he sold the item. So please beware of this practice. Anyhow, so that's my contribution for this month. I promise I'll look for more items to report next month. So I'll stop sharing now, because I know that both Duncan and Sue's got plenty to say. So okay, stop sharing. So your turn, Duncan. Susan, whoever you want to start.
Super first.
Okay.
Go in there. There you go.
I've got two very short little items to show you. The first one is a Western Branch one. And I'm really after information as to when they were allowed to cancel their own mail at Western Branch and under what circumstances. Richard did an article on Western Branch and he illustrated this one, 24th of November 08, where they have just put a date stamp on and then it's gone to the GPO to be cancelled. And he states this was the rule at the time. And indeed, I have some examples on cards for Europe that have been used in this way as late as 1912, where they haven't cancelled the adhesive, they've just put a date stamp on. Which brings us to this envelope here. It's a postal stationery envelope. And it's dated 6 days later than Richard's example, the 30th of November, 1908. A consignee cover to Canton, but it's actually been cancelled with the Hong Kong Western Branch one. Posted on the 30th and it got to Canton on the 1st of December. So my query is this normal? Is it because the post office was located so close to the Canton Ferry Pier that it's been cancelled and not sent to the GPO? Or was there some special reason for it being cancelled and not sent to the GPO? Has anybody got anything to offer on this topic?
Yes, probably sent by private ship because, as you know, Western Branch actually is very close to the harbour, and even nowadays, well, nowadays they're no more, but maybe 30 years ago, there's still sort of little boats, private ships, just right outside Shanghai. It's actually Shanghai district. And a lot of the mail going to and fro Canton from Hong Kong were carried by private ships. So it is quite conceivable that and Arnold Kalberg probably just throw this in a poster cover, Western Branch, or maybe it's actually just consignee cover. So it's most likely
it's a consignee.
That's right. Most likely go with say maybe a cargo to Canton by a private boat.
And this would be what they would do then.
The boats couldn't go all the way up the river to Canton anyway. They had to be transshipped, probably depending on the tide and the level of the river, but it couldn't go all the way up to Canton itself.
Yeah, you see a lot of Chinese red band covers with Chinese stamps, with the Sun Yat-sen stamps coming into from Canton coming into Hong Kong with a packet boat, cancel packet boat, and the Western Branch cancel. Right. So the Western Branch must be handling quite a bit of mail to Canton.
Yeah, I mean that's why it was located there, wasn't it? Because they were getting a lot of mail. Sent into Canton. Yeah.
So they wouldn't bother to actually pass it to the GPO and then for the GPO to handle. I think especially for Canton.
All right, thank you.
I think Simon might have something to say about Western Branch, and as he has done a bit of study on the usages and then.
In fact, I study a little bit on the registration history. And in fact, as Andrew mentioned, because of the location of the Western Branch and And also, I think it's one of the primary purpose of setting up the Western branch was that it was used to handle mails sent and collected from those in the Guangdong province, especially those cities near the Pearl River, and including Canton or today's Zhuhai, Zhongshan, etc. And there's a lot of both between those cities and Hong Kong, and also the post office was using some private company or private ships to carry mails to and from those cities. So those mails will probably pass through Western branch directly, and so therefore if those mails were not addressed to overseas destinations, it probably will just dump it to those private ships for direct transport to those cities along the Pearl River.
Thank you,
Susan.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
Better show my face. Susan, can you actually tell me, is there an index letter on the Canton CDS on the back?
It's a letter A.
Yes,
and
I thought so. Yeah.
The Western branch, I think, is an F.
Yeah.
So it posted late and arrived Canton early the next day.
An F. Yeah. So actually, you find a lot of Canton A as a rival market, because I mean, I'm pretty sure that they got A and B, and A must be the early morning shift. So it's a lot of the so-called the ferry, the Hong Kong Canton ferry, actually left in the evening and arrived in the morning in Canton.
Yeah.
I remember going on one of these in my youthful days. You know, that you left Macau in the nighttime and arrived in Hong Kong like 6 o'clock in the morning. So despite actually it's only a very short distance between Canton and Hong Kong, and a fast boat could have made it, you know, in those days within, say, maybe 4 hours. I think they sail very slowly, so that people could actually, after their business or gambling or something, they got on the boat and arrived in Hong Kong at 6 o'clock, just in time for next day's work. It's true. And so I think a lot of people just save a night in the hotel. That's before the days of the hydrophone. They have they call the large ships like the Fatsan or Taisan or something like that. You know, big boats. They could have sailed much quicker, I'm pretty sure, but you know, it's just deliberate. They sail very slowly. From Macau to Hong Kong. Anyway, so that's a very. Is that postal stationery, by the way?
It's a 2 cents postal stationery envelope. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So
I have one more item, if you're interested. It's linked to this month's newsletter.
Yeah.
There's a little illustration of a Kowloon registration label with the Kowloon printed on. And the question was, you know, did they not have any Kowloon labels after the war? Well, the other one, there was another label where they overprinted. The overprints are different. Excuse me. That has a round O, that has an oval O.
Yeah.
And this one is no news, just on the 3rd of November, 49. Somebody sent me an example. I haven't done any other example. So these were in use very late 1940s and November 1950. But there were some Kowloon hand stamp, Kowloon printed labels in use as early as 48. So it would appear that, yes, they did have these until they had the printed ones, but they didn't throw them out when the printed ones came. They carried on and used them up. Waste not, want not. So they were using them at the same time as some printed ones that came out or are known as early as February 1948. So that's just a little follow-up to the newsletter.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. Actually, it's quite rare. Whereas compared to large K, which is by far more common.
Yeah, there's more than one type of large K as well, but yes, they are more common than these.
All right, that's interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
They must have a couple of clerks actually hand stamping the whole row of labels.
Yes, some poor soul.
Yeah, poor soul. I mean, the whole row is about 100 or something. Or more. They just hand stamp every single one of them. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks very much. There's a nice reply to the inquiry. I think it's John Tang's inquiry, if I can remember correctly, that he sent this item to me last month. Right. Good. Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Yes. I think Duncan's got a few emails that he would like to share with us, right?
Right, I think you've got Richard to blame for this, really. He's been doing a lot of research about the sailings between Hong Kong and Singapore. And it led me to sort of go back and rewrite quite a lot of my KLM material. I'm covering the period between 1933 and 37. There's a copy of the 1933 timetable there, and a map of the route. And the Hong Kong Post Office started sending mail via KLM in June 1933.
Yeah, I'm using. Sorry.
In the summer months, KLM operated a route via Central Europe. From Athens, they went through Belgrade, Budapest, and Halle Leipzig to Amsterdam. In the winter months, they operated a Mediterranean route through Brindisi to Marseille and then up to Amsterdam. But from a Hong Kong Post Office point of view, sending mail to Singapore was far more beneficial than sending it to Saigon. There were far more sailings to Singapore. Apart from P&O, the Dutch KPM line and the Japanese KYK all had scheduled services between Hong Kong and Singapore. And in addition, the post office made use of any other vessels if their sailings offered a connection. As far as Saigon went and the French service, then there's only really Messagerie Maritime plus occasional other ships. So you had a much better chance of making a connection at Singapore. In addition, Air France only operated a weekly service from Saigon. Eventually, KLM were operating 3 times a week from Bandung to Amsterdam, so there was a greater frequency of flights as well. In December 1933, Imperial Airways also extended the service to Singapore, and the Hong Kong Post Office did send mail out to join the Imperial Airways service, but the bulk of the mail prior to 1936 went via KLM, which operated a faster service from Singapore. There's a summary of the rates there. I won't go through all of them, but essentially there was a special quarter ounce rate at $1, and then the half ounce rate was $1.60, and any multiple of rate was a multiple of the half ounce rate. So if you had a 1 ounce letter, it was $3.20. Competition did gradually bring the cost down, as you can see there, down to 80 cents in 1934 for a quarter ounce. By January 35, it's 80 cents for a half ounce. And it's only in 1936, after Imperial Airways have started direct service from Hong Kong, that the KLM rate went back up to $1.20. The first covers were dispatched on the 17th of June on the Kaiser Hind, a P&O vessel. A couple of covers there, one at the quarter-ounce rate going to Francis Field, the airmail dealer, and he applied the British stamp in order to get an arrival cancelled. The British Post Office didn't routinely cancel mail on arrival. The other addressed to William Sayers of Sayers, Bishop and Morton fame, the early Hong Kong handbook. And his manuscript annotated, he received it on the 30th, which is the same date as the Francis Field one. Thanks to Richard's researches, it is possible to identify the ships that carried them from Hong Kong. And another friend, Peter Wingent, has done a lot of work on the movements of KLM aircraft taken out of the newspapers, so you can trace these covers all the way through to Amsterdam. In fact, KLM operated an evening service to Croydon, so the mail that arrived in Amsterdam in the afternoon would then be flown up to Croydon the same day. And then there's just a range of half-ounce letter at the $1.60 rate at the top left, a registered cover, again at the 160 rate plus the extra 20 cents for the registration there. And there are quite a lot of photographs of the KLM aircraft on the internet, so it's fairly easy to find the pictures of the aircraft through them as well. Slightly unusual one in this case, in addition to the $1.60 air fee, there's a 10 cent late fee that's been charged. Like with the normal sea mail, it was possible to post letters after the mail had officially closed, before the ship had sailed, and that's what's happened in this case. It actually left Hong Kong on the same day it was posted on board as the Rajputana P&O ship, flown through to Amsterdam and then by air to Paris and finally by rail to Reims. This is interesting. It originally was intended for the Air Orient service, but it had been posted too late to actually make the connection on the 16th of August. So somebody's annotated it in Bandung, Amsterdam in a different handwriting, and it's been sent by sea to Singapore to join the KLM service. Reached Amsterdam on the 30th of August and got a French black stamp on the 1st of September. Despite the very colourful franking, the cover on the left is correctly rated at the $1.60 per half-ounce rate. They both left Hong Kong on the 20th of January on a Japanese ship, the Hakata Maru. The other cover is at the quarter-ounce rate going to Britain. Both would have reached Croydon on the 2nd of February. These are unusual. I've been looking for examples of these for years. The British Post Office did not like people using KLM. In fact, they did not advertise the service at all. But some businesses did press could be sent via KLM. They didn't advertise the facility. But if you were in the know, then at double the rate for Imperial Airways, you could send your mail via Holland, which has happened in this case, and they've both been flown to Singapore by KLM, and then it's been crossed through and sent on to Hong Kong by sea. These both originated out of Ted Proud's collection. I think they're the only two he'd ever come across, so they're not common. It's worth looking out for them, but you really do need to have an endorsement via Holland, and ideally the Singapore bars through the etiquette. The trouble is the $1 stamp would also cover a double weight Imperial Airways letter as well, so without the clear endorsement, it's probably not worth buying. Sorry, gone the wrong way. Right. Cover on the left is the last dispatch at the $1 per quarter ounce rate. It dropped to 80 cents with the next flight. And there's an example of the 80 cents per quarter ounce rate at the right-hand side. Again, sent by a Japanese ship to Singapore for onwards air transmission. In June 1934, the $1.60 rate came down to $1.35 per half ounce, and that applied to Britain, Ireland, and Western Europe. There's a single weight example on the left and a double weight example bottom right. This case, it's endorsed by the ships. I think the senders knew very well what ships were due to sail and were quite ready to post them at the right time to make sure they got them. Rather nice multiple weight, a quadruple weight cover going to Switzerland in July 34. 4 times the $1.35 per half ounce rate plus a 20-cent registration. It's interesting how they had to make up the franking. You'd expect, I suppose, a $5.50 and a 10-cent, but I suspect $5 stamps weren't necessarily in usage. They're certainly not easy to find on cover. It was probably went to Zurich from Amsterdam by rail. There wasn't a direct air service from Amsterdam. It was possible to have sent it via Paris and then join an Imperial Airways service from Paris, but I'm not sure the French would like to do that. They served Geneva with Air France, but Imperial Airways did Basel and Zurich, so I suspect it's rail from Amsterdam. In January 1935, the half ounce rate became 80 cents and the quarter ounce rate was abolished. So it's 80 cents for mail to Britain and Ireland, $1 for half ounce for mail going to Europe. In this case, it's a double weight one at the 80 cents to Britain and cover at the $1 half ounce rate going to Holland. These are both at the $1 per half ounce rate to Europe destinations. One going to France, and in this case, rather unusually by an Italian liner, the Conte Verdi, which just happened to offer a connection in Singapore. The other went on the P&O Ranchi. This is the last dispatch by sea to Singapore before the Imperial Airways feeder service started from Hong Kong. It left Hong Kong on the 21st of March, was in Singapore on the 25th, and of course the feeder service started on the 27th. Even though Imperial Airways had started a direct feeder service, the Hong Kong Post Office did continue to dispatch mail by sea to Singapore. Often, as in this case, it was because the cover was posted too late to catch the flight. The flight had left earlier that morning on the 10th of April. So they sent it by sea to Singapore. It connected with the 18th of April flight, and it ended up getting to London 3 days sooner than it would have done if you'd held it for the next Imperial Airways service. The disadvantage from the sender's point of view was it was more expensive at this time, and it was only at this time because the rate went up in May, but that was 80 cents as opposed to 50 cents by Imperial. In May, it went up to $1.20 per half ounce. Again, there are covers that were posted too late for the Imperial Airways service and sent by sea. It saved time. The cover on the left actually reached London on the 29th of June. It would have been the 8th of July if it had waited for the next Imperial Airways service. going to Denmark. In this case, it was flown on from Amsterdam to Copenhagen. KLM did run the main Scandinavian service in conjunction with the Scandinavian airline ABA. So it was a straightforward connection. If it had gone on Imperial Airways to Britain, it would probably have then gone back to Amsterdam to be flown up to Denmark anyway. I do like multiple weight covers. This is a quintuple weight cover to Germany sent in April 1937. 5 times a $1.20 plus a 20-cent registration fee. It reached Amsterdam on the 12th of April, and there's a very faint Hamburg arrival for the 13th on the reverse. Lufthansa operated a service from Amsterdam through Hamburg to Berlin, so it probably carried on that. And that is it.
Hi. Wait, well done. Oh, Duncan, can I go back to your slide with the Francis Field cover with the halfpenny stamp?
Yeah, I'll have to.
Yeah, it's okay. I think everybody. Yeah.
Yes, that one.
Number 4, slide number 4. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Is it a handbag surface or something? You know, because the halfpenny.
Yeah, it was a quite common practice by British collectors. Once you put a halfpenny on it, the post office had to cancel it. So yes, it was done over the counter.
So did he actually received it at Sutton Coldfield? And
he
then
received it at Sutton Coldfield, and then he went to the post office with a halfpenny stamp on the front and got them to cancel it.
And then got it back from the post office, or
yeah, it was literally a hand back over the counter.
Oh, the hand back over the counter.
Yeah, once he put the halfpenny stamp on, they had to cancel it.
Oh, so
why
that was
would they
allowed.
do that?
Yeah,
just as proof that it was carried on the flight.
Yeah.
They've got an arrival cancelled now, and that's, I mean, Francis Field was probably the main airmail dealer in this country.
Yeah.
So he'd have an arrangement with the post office, but you see it on a number of well-known collectors. Wheatcroft, a lot of Wheatcroft covers have the same thing, a halfpenny stamp on it. In his case, it was cancelled in Imstock.
Well, halfpenny is the cheapest, right? So you could.
It's the cheapest, yeah. It's just a cheap way of getting a postmark to prove it came on the flight.
Yeah. But you notice the time? I say, is it what 8 p.m. or something like that? You know,
4 p.m.
Oh, 4 p.m. Okay.
4 p.m. He'll have sent the office boy out or one of the secretaries with a bundle of these things.
Okay. Yeah, but
I'm sure he would have had more than one example on that flight.
Yeah, sure. But usually there are no arrivals, cancellations on the back in those days,
no,
right?
Certainly not on ordinary mail.
Yeah. Registered.
Some collectors had arrangement with their local office, and but it wasn't normal practice. No.
Yeah. Do you know anything about these airmail labels, the grey-blue ones? They seem to be cut from a big sheet.
No, they weren't perforated, so they're hand cut from the sheet.
Have you seen a big sheet, the complete sheet? How big is it?
Honestly, no. I've got a part sheet. I can't remember which album it's in, but I don't know. Later they did go to perforated sheets.
So this is the first type, right? The first type.
Yeah, I think that's the second type. I think the first type's a bigger lettering. There's a little bit in the airmail book on it, but
yeah. Very nice little collections here. You've got study courses. Right.
I haven't added to it for a long time.
Yeah.
But Richard got me at least rewriting it. So.
Good old Richard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So That's great. Nice presentation. Any questions? Oh, yeah. Nick again, I think.
Yeah. Duncan, I was interested in the map of the routes and the winter route via Brindisi.
Yeah.
Did you say that went Marseille, Brindisi?
It went from Brindisi to Marseille and then up to Amsterdam.
Yeah. When were they allowed to do that? I mean, when did they start doing that route? Because Imperial
usually towards the middle of October.
Yeah, no, I meant which year? Because I mean, the Imperial Airways, of course, couldn't fly between Brindisi and Marseille, which was why
one of the great.
And I understood that was because the Italians, well, the French didn't like Mussolini's air force flying into their territory, so they wouldn't let civil aviation fly over from Italy, and the Italians reciprocated.
Yeah, the Dutch airline from the start, it was their
they could do it.
Yeah, it was their normal winter routing.
So they were allowed to, even though the British weren't.
Well, but it wasn't as simple as that. The Italians wanted the British to revenue share, which they refused to do. And then, of course, we got tied up with the Abyssinia crisis, and our political opposition to Italy sort of soured things even more. But I mean, the French did fly a Mediterranean route from the start as well on their Far East routing.
Right. But, so they. All right. I'd understood it. I thought it was a general thing. No civil aviation between France and Italy, or basically. But obviously, I'd misunderstood that or been misinformed.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably couldn't carry mail, but they might not have been allowed to carry passengers to Italy or pick up passengers in Italy. These sort of restrictions.
Yeah. But
I mean, KLM couldn't carry mail within India. Couldn't pick up mail in India, and it couldn't. Well, flying eastwards, he had to drop it at Karachi. Flying westwards, it had to offload it at Calcutta, even though they were calling it Karachi. They couldn't drop mail going westbound at Karachi. It was complicated, and politics just would change.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed to fly to Australia till 1938 either, weren't KLM, though they wanted to.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just want to see the map.
Right.
Sorry about that. It's very interesting map, but I think that the legend is a little bit small. Could you actually explain something about the different lines, the red lines, the blue lines, and black lines? I can't see from my screen. My screen is a little bit.
Yeah, the black line is basically the Dutch services.
The Dutch service, yeah.
Yeah, the red line is the British service.
Oh, okay.
Which was air to Paris, and it was rail from Paris to Brindisi because we weren't able to get overflight rights from the Italians.
Yeah.
And then we flew on from Brindisi to Alexandria.
Okay.
And the blue line is the Orient Air France service.
Oh, the Air France one. Oh,
yeah. Okay. Which does, again, run through Brindisi and into Marseille.
Oh, right.
So Brindisi, Marseille.
Yeah, sorry, it's too small. Well, what's the one down the Africa?
That's Imperial Airways. Down to Cape Town.
That's the Cape service.
Because it made it something like 15 stops or something.
Oh, about it.
All along the way.
Yes, you can see though. I mean, these aircraft had a range of about 600 miles, so they're refueling fairly regularly.
Okay, so how long does it take? Did it take from say, for example, Cairo down to presumably Cape Town at the end? How many days would it take?
Well, from London, it was between 10 and 11 days, depending on time of year, really, because they did tend to be a bit quicker in the summer.
10 to 11 days. Oh.
It got better as they went on.
It did, yeah. I mean, by 1938, they were offering Hong Kong in 5.5 days from London.
What sort of
the British aircraft in particular weren't very fast. I mean, the British aircraft, like the Empire flying boats, they majored in comfort, not in speed.
Yeah.
Their cruising speed was almost as much as the DC-2s, actually. By the time the flying boats came in, then KLM lost some of their speed advantage, but certainly early on. No, they didn't. And they also had more obligations to serve the empire in India, so there were extra stops to sort of.
I mean, for the British, not having the ability to fly very far before they had to land and refuel was, if anything, it was an advantage, because they wanted the thing to collect up the backwards of the empire. And
yeah.
So in Africa, you get.
I mean, most of the stops on the eastern route were common to the airlines. I mean, they all stopped in Bangkok. They were all stopping in Rangoon and Pakiam and Calcutta. I mean, it was the norm. It's when you get to the Mediterranean sectors that KLM really sort of seemed to, well, they do Athens to Amsterdam in a day, whereas we were probably night stopping in Athens and then 2 days by rail from Brindisi.
So these aircraft would have been carrying passengers as well as cargo, but not.
Yeah, freight, mail, and passengers.
Oh wow!
If you have a lot of money.
So it took you 5 days to fly from Hong Kong to London.
That's in 1938, 5.5. They were very precise, and that was only if you made all the connections and there weren't any delays.
Yes.
Then you walk 3 weeks by sea.
Yeah. Well, quite a bit of risk actually flying in those days, I suppose.
Yeah.
Safe on the ship.
Yeah.
Right.
Safer on a ship, yes. They didn't fly at night, of course, either. So.
Oh, it didn't fly. Yeah. There's no radar in those days, right?
No, but you got to stay in nice hotels at night.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's very romantic. You fly during the day and stay at night and have a nice dinner. Yeah. Great. Thanks a lot. Yeah, that's really explained. Yeah. Okay. So hi.
Good night. It's past 1 o'clock. I have to go to bed.
I'm sorry to
good night. Oh, good morning.
Yes. Right.
Good night.
Yes. Enjoy your sleep. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we look forward to more feedback from you. Right. Okay. So who's next? All right. So there seems to be no more show and tell. Now, what can I say? Yeah. There is next week. There is in our neighbor Macau has a national stamp exhibition over the weekend. So it is, I think, is a competitive national stamp exhibition, because we actually the Hong Kong Philatelic Society used to have a stamp packs every year, but we didn't have one this year, primarily of the lack of exhibitors and exhibits. So, but Macau has a few exhibits, so they decided to DC's around. So they decided to run their own national show. So and then they somehow the Macau Post is very supportive, and they issue special stamps for their show. And there's next week is probably going to be quite a few. I think a lot of collectors actually, going over to Macau just to check it out and see what the Macau collectors have to show. And I heard that there's somebody actually has a early Macau stampless covers exhibit, which I'm I might try to get over there to look at it. And the other thing, of course, is as you know that with some auction houses, I'm not going to advertise, but there are quite some nice materials coming out of from the I think things that haven't been seen for many decades that are coming into the market, like the recent Connaught collection, and from Spink, which sold very well. I mean, mainly part one of it was just Hong Kong adhesives with a few covers of the usages. But the next year, I think next January, it will be the postal history section, and Neil Granger said that it will be quite an eye opener. Oh, Neil Granger, talking about devil, he's just arrived. I'm just talking, Neil. I'm just talking about your sale. Are you there? So I better mention more names, and more names will start suddenly coming. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, it was very, very good. It's got a lot of very nice stamps. If you collect stamp collectors, QB period, and I think that mainly I think that the collector has sold all the archival stuff many years ago. He's just left with some mint stamps and Neil, we were talking about you. Your success.
Good job I joined.
Huh?
Good job I joined then.
Yeah. Maybe you want to spend a few minutes talking about the sale in January, just ended, and what you have in store for us next January.
Well, I thought the sale was very good. There's a lot of bidding. Obviously, a lot of the stuff is fresh to the market and very desirable, but there was a lot of bidding here and there, and obviously some exceptional prices. So I was very pleased. I felt it gave some strength to the market. Now, part two is all covers and cancellations, and I'm still working on it, but there's some really exciting things. It's got treaty ports. Treaty port's not that brilliant. We've got some very unusual bits and bobs here and there. I can't list them all at the moment because I can't think of them. I'm just on food chow at the moment, so but there are a lot of unusual and very interesting, not necessarily expensive. I think the estimates are quite modest mostly, but you should all be looking out for it. So if you collect covers, there's going to be something you want.
I'm pretty sure of that.
Who do you, Andrew? There's a few there for you, I noticed.
I'm pretty sure. If I could afford it, yes. Yeah, right. Good.
When can we expect the second part? It's either November or January next year. The vendor was aiming for January, but I think Tim's trying to get a bit earlier, which I think is possibly a mistake, but it's either be November or January.
Time to save.
Yeah, time to save up, yes, or maybe negotiate with a banker for a mortgage, another mortgage. Yeah. Any other big collections on private offer or from your company?
All I've got at the moment, someone's given me a very specialized collection of Hong Kong Queen Elizabeth. Because he thinks it's nicely written up. It's well written. It's not perfectly written up. It's written up in about 13 albums. And it's a lot of blocks, a lot of bits and pieces, a lot of varieties, which I think some can be pulled out to reduce the overall cost. But he's hoping if we can get a PT sale on the whole collection or just the main collection, then that will certainly be an option. So if anybody's looking for starting on QE, wants to get everything done in one fell swoop, then let me know.
Is it from the first 54 issue to the most modern?
To 97, really, yes.
To 97. Oh, wow. Just the whole period.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. In good condition.
It's all unmounted mint.
Pristine, yeah. Yeah. See, the problem with Hong Kong is it's the climate, because even the stuff that you put away, if not careful, even 10 years ago, if not careful, you get rust spots. Very sad. Yeah, because really you need so full time, 24 hours, so air conditioned room or with your dehumidifier on, just to prevent that.
Of course, I understand that, but it's just one of those things. Otherwise, it'll go to auction, and the main collection will be offered en masse anyway. So,
yeah. Right, good. Anything new from your side? From any?
Nothing exciting I can put my fingers on at the moment.
No. Okay. Good. PC is there. PC, you want to say something about the journal? Our journal coming up. Yeah, PC is working hard on the Hong Kong Philatelic Society Journal 27 or something.
Yeah, well, it's almost ready. It's the final stage of editing, and hope that we can get it out by the end of March.
Yeah, maybe you can tell us about some interesting articles.
Well, there are always interesting articles, including one written by me. You know that I am a biologist. Yeah. So I have an article on DNA and modern biotechnology from the philatelic perspective. Is it interesting enough?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
What's that DNA's got to do with stamps?
Well, yeah, it's DNA on stamp, in fact.
That's it. Interesting. You just analyze whoever owned the stamps or touched the stamp, that DNA. You say that's Richard Chan's DNA.
Well, in fact, there was a crime that the police they solved these issues like checking the DNA on the stamp. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The way that people lick the stamp.
They lick the stamp, yeah.
And then they would
check the identity of the person.
Yeah.
It's a real case, yeah.
Yeah, right. Good. That's good.
Yeah. In fact, there are a lot of stamps with DNA, the image of DNA on it.
That's very, very interesting. Indeed. Yeah. Oh, by the way, you don't need to go for a hard copy. If you feel that postage is a bit expensive, because PC has done it all online. You can actually download it on a PDF file, all the journals and the newsletters.
Yeah, but you need to be members before you can download it completely.
You join it. Well, okay. Not to spoil the society, but you can just join it for 1 year and then download everything.
The resolution is not very well, in fact. Not as good as a journal.
Yeah. No, it's very, very good. For the past few years, the journals, the quality of the journals has been getting higher and higher. I'm very proud to say that PC has done a lot of work. Getting very good articles, twisting people's arms, I would say.
Yeah. We have to do it.
I just write my own articles. PC is able to actually twist the people's arms.
With the support of all of you, in fact. And this time, Susan also written an article. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So I hope that all of you consider writing something, but not only for the study circle, of course, and also the Philatelic Society. And if you are not already a member, please join. Yeah. Okay. So anything else? Simon, you got something to say?
No, not this time. I in fact was quite busy for the past few days. Yeah. Although I was trying hard to prepare 15-20 minutes presentation for this meeting, but wow, I was just so occupied. I couldn't finish it today. Yeah. So maybe next month I probably would have something to say.
Okay, the March meeting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
Simon in fact has an article on the postage paid, the postage paid postmark. Yeah. And it has a long series of articles.
Yeah. As I just mentioned during the beginning of this meeting, and in this journal, I will have the final section, and we'll have a summary and a table of all the recorded official pay Hong Kong CDS summary. And in fact, I'm planning in the coming 2 Zoom meetings, I will talk a little bit about some special official pay postmark, including the Shanghai official pay and another one more interesting thing, maybe in the coming Zoom meetings.
That's
very well deserved. Yeah.
That's very good. Yeah, PC, before you actually came in, Susan actually showed us, we actually have a reply, that in our last newsletter, you showed a registration label with a Kowloon hand stamp on it. And as you know, that very seldom our newsletter actually got a reply from the so-called members Q and A. But we actually got a reply from Susan, with another copy of the label. And that is really a very good start. Yeah. So right, Adrian, you got anything you want to add before we close?
Nothing else, thanks. No.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, in that case, we look forward to the springtime coming, and well, of course, it's getting hot already in Hong Kong, although it's only in February. The weather's been getting a bit hot and very, very springy, certainly. So I wish you all a happy spring and lots of philately and buying lots of stuff from the market. And I wish you well and have a good day and a good evening and a good night from me. And of course, I have to thank Fiat from sponsoring the meeting again. So I'll see you next week. Next month. I'll say next month. So looking forward to the meeting. Okay, so have a nice evening and or not afternoon. Okay, so it's bye for me. Okay, so
bye. Thank you, Andrew.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.